Okay, good morning and welcome to HUD News. And today is going to be October 31st. So happy Halloween to you folks out there that are celebrating that. We're going to be discussing HUD and COC fundings. Their funds are evaporating. It's the end of the year plus the pandemic. So I'm going to go into some reasons why we're going to be having problems with that. I'm also going to be discussing my consulting services. Okay, so part of this service that I offer will be stopping all the way till January 1st, okay, because of some of the funding level issues, and I cannot do a job when there's no housing available, okay? We'll also be discussing some of the wave of evictions that have already started to come through the country and how that's going to affect the entire system. So, let's start off with this, okay? We already know about a pandemic, and I've warned a lot of you folks going all the way back to March that this was going to be a big deal, okay? And so, funding that was out there for HUD and housing authorities and Section 8 and affordable housing and every other name that you want to call it by, that normal funding evaporated. And then, they had the CARES Act, which injected billions of dollars into it. Well, that money wasn't going to last forever. And unfortunately, it has run out, okay? So what I'm finding is most of the states and most of the counties around the country at this point are just out of money, and they're highly reluctant to even speak to people or even take applications. Notably, Florida appears to be almost shut down when it comes to housing. New Jersey, Arizona, parts of California, a vast portion of New York, and really the list keeps going, okay? So without any new stimulus, there simply is no money to put in the system. So that's going to go back to the consulting services. Now, I offer individual consulting services for people that need help with applications and getting into HUD or the continuum of care, which is the coordinated access system, okay? So really, I'm going to be suspending that service till January 1st for a lot of reasons. Number one, I cannot do a job if there's no housing, no potential of being able to get you housing, okay? And we reached that point. So, first of all, it is the end of the year when funds naturally run out. Number two, we had a pandemic and that ran through the funds. Then we had stimulus, which was through the CARES Act, and then that money ran out. We have no new stimulus money that's coming in. And also, it is the end of the month, which means that it's also another national time when there's no funding. So, I can't effectively do my job to help people get housing when there simply isn't any money or opportunity to do it. So I can't continue to accept payments from people on that reason, okay? So when the new year comes around, I will reopen, and then we'll hopefully have a new round of stimulus. It'll be the new year with new funding. And then also depending on what happens as far as the presidential election on November 3rd, okay? So as you know, if the current administration keeps the office, there will be a likely loss of around $10 billion to the program, which would likely exacerbate the problem further. If we were to get the new president, I think Biden there, then this whole system will change into the universal housing voucher program, which I am still trying to get details on, okay? Which is going to change everything, and then likely I'm going to have to make a whole lot of new videos covering specifically how that system is going to work, okay? It's just going to be a real game changer if that happens, okay? Beyond that, I think we have reached full capacity for the wave of evictions. Despite it being the memorandum, so the CDC put up an eviction memorandum for that would protect people for evictions all the way till December 31st. In other words, on the January 1st, 2021, that was set to expire. Well, it looks like most landlords have figured out ways to evict most people. And so we have millions of people now entering the system that has no money. They're looking for housing, but there's no money, okay? So I've never seen anything like this where the whole system just becomes overwhelmed. And that's where it stands. Now, I do want to express one point. I will continue to work with developers and landlords, obviously, because there are lots of people that can't find housing, and there's lots of vouchers in every state. So I will continue to work with developers, but unfortunately, I will not be able to accept any more clients. And even the clients I have, and unfortunately, this will be the last day that I will be offering services by email, phone, or anything. I will not be reachable till January 1st, okay? So the other thing I want to discuss further is going to be the wave of evictions. So we already in our first round, and there's a lot of people trying trying to find housing. And then we have a second wave that's going to hit for January 1st with no positive resolution as to what's going to happen. There isn't any additional funding for HUD or the continuum of care, so I don't really know how these folks are going to get housed. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the system was already overwhelmed and underfunded. Now there's no funding, okay? So just to be clear, trying to call HUD, Section 8, and affordable housing places is almost a fruitless effort at this point. You know, it is the holidays, it is the end of the year, the end of the month, and we're out of money. So I don't know how else to tell you folks that you should have applied for these services well in advance of this, because at this point it is pretty much over for 2020, okay? Now, in a better set of news, I'm going to have new videos after November 3rd. So I think on November 4th I'll be posting some videos. And it really, like I said, it's going to depend on the election. I suppose if Joe Biden does take that office, then we will start digging real deep into what universal housing choice vouchers are and how that's going to affect everybody, including current tenants of Section 8 and those of you that are seeking housing. And then, of course, we're expecting a lot of big stimulus packages, okay? Which means the government's going to likely respond to the pandemic and this big problem. And when they do respond with a lot of money, then it means that all the housing opportunities will likely start to open up, okay? And so will I, you know, when it comes to January 1st. So now the last thing I want to leave you guys with is I've got two sick parents, and I don't have any other choice but for personal reasons to go and help them, okay? They're older, they're in their 60s, late 60s, and they both have underlying issues, and because they are sick, and this is a private matter, I will continue the video, you know, as I do normally, but it is highly unlikely that unless I already have a contract with you as a developer, that I will be responding to anybody else through email, okay? Because this is a big issue for me. And let me tell you something. These folks, my parents raised me, okay? They spent their time, their money, and their love raising me. So I'm not going to abandon them in order to have a bunch of housing calls with people, okay? I don't know most of you. I love you. And, of course, I want you to have housing. But you are definitely second on my priority list when it comes to my parents, okay? So with that being said, I'm wishing everybody a happy holiday. And just, you know, make note that as of you know, tomorrow I will no longer be doing these consultant services, and I will keep everybody apprised of what's going on as far as the news is concerned, evictions and housing, and if things do get better, then we'll address it at that time. So, all right, well, I want to thank you for joining our channel and hearing what I had to say, and I look forward to speaking with y'all again in a few days. Thank you. Bye.